Hey guys, Max from Max Talks Cars, and in today's video we're going to be discussing negative equity. What is it? How can you get burnt by it? And how can you potentially avoid it? Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I just really enjoy talking about cars and have researched this for a very long time. I've also been burnt myself by negative equity, so I had to research into what it was and thought I'd put this video out so that hopefully some of you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So let's talk about what negative equity is first. Well, what it is when you go to a dealership and you buy a car, you'll buy a car for, let's say, £30,000 from that particular dealership. Now, straight away, that dealer has to make a profit on that car. So they will often put a markup against what the true value of the car is. So if you're buying the car for £30,000, the actual price of that car might only be £28,000, £27,000 to a dealer once you drive that off their forecourt. So what this means is that the negative equity comes into play when your settlement figure, which is the amount that you owe on your finance agreement if you decide to take out finance, is less than the cash price of the car that someone's willing to give you. So for example, if I bought an Audi TT and it cost me £30,000, and when I wanted to give the car back, the settlement figure was £30,000 that I had to pay off that car, but the cash price that the dealer was going to pay me for that was £27,000. I would essentially be £3,000 in negative equity because I would owe that finance company the difference between the cash price of the car that the dealer was offering to buy it from me for and the amount that I have outstanding on finance. So this can cause a lot of problems for people, especially people who buy brand new cars, because the first year or two of ownership, these cars can drop massively in value. I'll give you an example. Before the car I'm in right now, which is the Audi A1 S-Line Competition, I've done many of reviews of that, which I'll leave in the description below. But before the A1, I had an Audi TT Black Edition, and I'll post that on the screen right next to me now so you can have a good look at it. Now, this was the top spec Black Edition. It was the 45 TFSI. It had 245 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. It was an absolute stunner of a car, and I got it 6 months old. So it was an ex-demo. It wasn't brand new. It has gone to a dealer. A dealer had used that car for 6 months, and then they sold it to me. So that car brand new was roughly about £42,000. I got it 6 months later for just shy of £31,000, so £30,950 to be exact. Now, that was a great deal, I thought, at the time, until I called up the dealer a couple of months later, just because I get worried about the finances and the settlement figures and wanted to know that I wasn't in too much negative equity. I thought it's already dropped £11,000 in terms of the price that it was brand new to when I bought it. How much more can it really drop? And boy, was I in for a shock. So I called up the dealer. I said, "Hi, Mr. Dealer, I'm just looking to get a figure from you. If you were to buy the car from me right now, how much would you pay for it?" And they got back to me a few hours later, and at the time I had about £30,500 left on the settlement figure to pay off, and they said, "We will buy the car back from you for £26,000. So just like that, I was £4,500 in negative equity. And to me, that only meant one thing, that it's going to continue to drop over the next few months. So if I was to have it for a year and I was to give it back, I might be in £5,000 negative equity. I might be in £3,000 negative equity. But I thought to myself, I was never going to be in a position where that car would make me money, or where I would get what I have left on the settlement figure back in terms of a cash price. So I got rid of it as soon as I could, really. I ended up selling it to a main dealer for £28,500. So I was able to get out of that car, but I did have to pay £2,000 to get out of that. Luckily, I was able to kind of roll that car or whatever else I had to pay for it into this car, and I got a really good deal on it, which I will discuss in the next video. But the last part of this video, I just want to talk about how you can avoid negative equity in a sense. So a lot of you don't realize this, or might not realize this, but there is a massive new car shortage at the moment, and there's a big chip crisis, so manufacturers can't really make and manufacture the volume of cars that they were doing pre-COVID, let's say. Now, this means that people who have used cars are in really good positions, because the amount that their cars were worth 2 years ago have suddenly gone up hugely for some cars in value. So, where a dealer might pay, £18,000 for my Audi A1 a couple of years ago, they might now pay me £22,000, because there is a shortage of these particular cars and people who want them can't get them, so they're happy to pay a premium. Now, there's a site called Motorway, and I'll link them in the description as well. It's what I use a lot to help my friends and family sell their cars for a good price. They work with thousands of kind of dealers across the UK. You put in your registration, your mileage, you take a couple of photos, and then they come and take the car from you, and then pay off the balance of whatever you have left on the settlement figure. And some of my friends, even after paying off the balance, have made £2,500 profit, £5,000 profit in some examples, obviously against the value of the car. And so I definitely would encourage you to check out that link if you have got a used car that you're looking to change or trade in at the moment. But another way to avoid negative equity is really about the leasing side of things, but also to not buy, like I said, a brand new 6 months or even maybe a year old car. After a year, the depreciation starts to kind of drop off a little bit more. You might still be in the red when you come to give the car back, or when it comes to negative equity, but it certainly wouldn't be as much as if you were to buy the car brand new at, let's say, 42,000, because like you saw from my example, it dropped from 42,000 down to 31,000 in just 6 months of that car being produced. But what a lot of people are doing at the moment is they are doing leasing. Leasing is essentially a way to rent a car without having to have the option to buy the car at the end. So you basically just pay an initial rental to secure the car, and then you pay monthly payments every single month. And at the end of that term, you simply give the car back, and that's that all sorted. So it's a really simple way to get your hands on a car. And normally the lease prices are a lot cheaper than the PCP prices, so the finance prices that you can get. Not always, but a lot of the time, because you don't have that option to buy it at the end, you're not financing it. So, the leasing companies, they just are able to somehow give you reduced rates on certain cars, which is wonderful. So I'll leave the link to one site that I really like to use, which is called Lease Loco, where you can check out these leasing deals and these comparisons. You can see what's doing really well, what vehicles are in stock, but at the end of the agreement, you won't have to worry about negative equity or positive equity. You simply just pay the monthly payments, you then hand the car back at the end, and then you have to put in a new deposit and pay new rentals for the next car that you purchase. So I hope this video has been helpful to you guys watching this who wants to understand a bit more about negative equity. If you've got any questions, please do leave them in the comments, and I'd love to answer them for you. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, so any finance questions, I wouldn't be able to go into detail about. But like I said, I have been burnt by negative equity before, so I know a bit about it. But if you like this, please do go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you later. Bye.